proceed up to 5. The Deputy President indicated he will be here by 4. At 5, we'll call him and allocate him up to 2 hours maximum. When he finishes, the majority leaders will come in, and thereafter the mover will be called to reply. We have 5 minutes each, and the interest is overwhelming. If we remain with the 5 minutes, you know, not each one of you will have time to speak. The alternative to this, and I don't want us to go that direction, is that after the Deputy President has had his opportunity, this motion has no time cap, but we must finish not later than midnight today. So I want to hear your views. We continue with 5 minutes. And after the Deputy President speaks, I'll go to the majority, and reply, and you go to the vote. Is that all right? Yes. Excellent. At the time we concluded, it was Honorable Kajwang from my left who had spoken. I'll now open the afternoon with the member for Ugenya.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Article 132 of the Constitution of Kenya provides that the President will every year give a report to this House on the steps taken to implement Article 10. Mr. Speaker, Article 10 is the soul of the nation. Article 10 is what the engineers would call the software of the country. It is what the doctor would call the heartbeat of this country. Oh dear. Mr. Speaker, through Article 10, this country gave to itself how they want to be governed. Article 10 of the Constitution provides for us the map to where we want to go. Mr. Speaker, in the last 1.5 years, we've listened to and been treated to, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President piercing with a sharp knife through the very heart of the nation, Mr. Speaker. When we went to give ourselves a new constitution, Mr. Speaker, we said tribalism, nepotism, corruption, Mr. Speaker, are our ills. And we said that we will entrench Article 10 and ensure that going forward, we live as a country together, united, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the last 2 years, the Honorable Gachagua'S has not only put a knife onto the back of our values and shared principles. The move of this motion, the Honorable Mutuse, read what appears in Article 10, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is nothing to say about a person who believes that this country should only belong to one region, Mr. Speaker. It has to be clear today that we are not impeaching Mount Kenya. We are not impeaching the Kikuyu. We are impeaching an individual who has refused to follow the law every single day of his life. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Gachagua'S is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, not the Deputy President of Mount Kenya, Mr. Speaker. He is the Deputy President of Kenya Kwanza, not Murima Kwanza, Mr. Speaker. It has to be said today that if you are to build together, if you are to run a country that has shared values, shared principles, and shared prosperity, Mr. Speaker, all of us must believe that our leaders will live within the four corners of the law. Mr. Speaker, it is true, and it's been said by Kenyans, that we are all tribal. Of course, we all come from tribes. We also have our own tribal sentiments, Mr. Speaker. We all have our feelings about what should happen to our tribe, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's even been said that Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga. It's also been said that all of us sitting here today have some tribal things in our closet, Mr. Speaker. That is true. But, Mr. Speaker, and you are a seasoned lawyer, when you go to court and you are charged, and the others you are charged are not in court, they say, Rigiji, Gachagua, and others not in court. The case here today is that of Rigiji, not others not here today. The case we're dealing with today is the case of Makanga, not driver, not passengers. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to deal with the person who believes that his job is to represent Mount Kenya. Mr. Speaker, on this side sits members of parliament elected by Mount Kenya people. On this side sits members of parliament from Nyeri, from Kirinyaga, from Muranga, from everywhere. Those counties also have governors. Nobody appointed Rigiji to be the benefactor. No one appointed Rigiji to be the custodian of Mount Kenya. No one. Because our constitution provides for leaders from that place to represent them. Mr. Speaker, by his actions that are against Article 10 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, Rigiji has alienated Mount Kenya from the rest of the country. He is fought so hard to be the Mount Kenya kingpin, Mr. Speaker, and I believe that this House must impeach him so that he can go and be the kingpin of Mount Kenya, not the deputy president of this country. That's what we need to do this afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I heard him mention the name of our PCS, the name of the Ford Kenya leader. Mr. Speaker, coalition agreements are done.
Give him 1 minute.
Coalition agreements are done between parties and among parties, Mr. Speaker. And if, for example, MDG where I run has shares in the government, the shares are for the whole country, not for a tribe, not for an individual, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today, I must say that we will impeach him. But all of us here today must also soul search that as we impeach Gachagua, have you lived a better life yourself as a Kenyan? Have you lived a better life as a leader? What have you done in your closet that reflects what Gachagua'S has done? We'll impeach him, but we must also change our ways as a country, from the president down to all of us who lead in this country, Speaker. I support and believe that he must be impeached.
Commissioner Patrick Makau.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, allow me to give thumbs up for one Honorable ECOMAS, Mwengi Mutuse, massive. Mr. Speaker, I give him thumbs up for executing this motion and showing Kenyans that leadership is not about where you come from, who you are, but how you perform your duties. Mr. Speaker, this morning, I've heard many speakers talk to this motion. Mr. Speaker, I agree with the speakers who have said that yesterday and the week before, Mr. Speaker, I've been watching the deputy president of this country doing rallies in town, going to churches, and Mr. Speaker, what we saw on Sunday was different from what we saw yesterday. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I want to advise us, even as politicians, sometimes we should listen to our advisors, and we listen to the right advisors. Mr. Speaker, if I were to advise the deputy president, yesterday's interview was his undoing, and he proved to Kenya that yes, all these accusations that are being leveled to him are really true. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to this House, one, despite Article 10, the deputy president, who is supposed to hold the values of this nation, by uniting Kenyans, by fighting against corruption, by fighting against tribalism, he is the one who has championed tribalism through and through. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you, as a member of Parliament Mavoko, I have spoken the word Kenya many times, more than the deputy president of this country. All what I've been hearing is Murima, 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 Murima. Mr. Speaker, today I want to tell Kenyans, I know Parliament has been prosecuted, and many words, we've been called names that we are an unperforming house. But today I stand here as a legislator Mavoko. Mr. Speaker, why am I charging the deputy president to be a tribalist? Mr. Speaker, at one time, I listened to the deputy president on national television saying that he reversed a cabinet decision to reverse the demolitions in Mathare. Why did he do that? He said his people were in Mathare and that he could not sit and see his people's houses demolished. Mr. Speaker, it reminded me when the people of Mavoko houses were being demolished. Personally, I went to him, and Mr. Speaker, I thought he could help me. But the words he used to me are unprintable, and I cannot speak them in this house. Mr. Speaker, today I want to tell him, those people that he was addressing, 30% of the houses that were demolished belong to those people of Murima. They belong to Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, I come from a constituency that is cosmopolitan. Today, as I stand here, Mr. Speaker, we have lost lives. We have had people whose properties had to be auctioned because they had gone for loans for those houses to build. Mr. Speaker, as a legislator, I humbled myself and requested and asked the Deputy President to intervene so that those houses, Mr. Speaker, a parcel of 4,000 acres, 325 acres, I requested him to have the 300 acres where the houses were seated, to have those people even pay to Portland. But the names he called me, Mr. Speaker, I cannot call the mayor. When I hear someone saying there are things which are not personal, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell them, those people elected me to represent them, and their pains are my pains, Mr. Speaker. Today, as I sit here, Mr. Speaker, the same Deputy President came to Machakos, and he said the Kamba votes are very little, they cannot bring in a president. He went ahead and said the Kamba votes, Kitui, Machakos, and Makueni combined are less than 1 million. I want to remind the Deputy President that the Kamba vote is more than 3 million. I want to remind him that Kamba nation produced Gay who took care of Kenyatta in prison. That same Kamba nation produced Munyao Kisoi, who flew the flag of Kenya during Independence Day. That same flag produced Muindi Mbingu, the former freedom fighter, who is my grandfather, Mr. Speaker. I want to remind him that same Kamba nation
Give him 1 minute.
1 minute. Mr. Speaker, that same Kamba nation that you said their votes were useless, they are the ones who are running every night now, calling for them to come and save you in this budget motion. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind him that every tribe in this country is important and he should live to respect them. I support this motion for every reason and every accusation that he has been accused of. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sane.
Mr. Speaker, before I want to bring out 3 assertions which are highly distorted, emanating from His Excellency, the Deputy President Gachagua. One, that he is a co-president. In every general election, 6 ballot papers are being issued to voters. And of the 6, 1 is for the presidency, and all Kenyans have voted His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto. I did not, and no Kenyan, voted Gachagua for any position other than being escorting the deputy president to State House. Nobody, the president to State House. He was not elected. So the claim that he had acquired 7.2 million voters is unfounded, unfactual, and is just mere hallucinations, Mr. Speaker. So he's not a co-president, he is just merely an assistant to the president. A second thing, Mr. Speaker, he always talks of being trained in paramilitary exercises or acquired paramilitary training. He is supposed to be a symbol of harmony, a symbol of unity, not to intimidate, not to tell the citizenry that indeed he is military trained. That in itself bespeaks volumes on who his character is, Mr. Speaker. One other thing, yesterday he has made disparaging remarks on the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate. The fact that his impeachment is coming in front of this House today and thereafter proceed to the Senate, it wasn't befitting for him to speak disparaging, derogatory remarks on our Speaker and the Speaker of the Senate. On to the impeachment motion, Mr. Speaker. Article 150, I think the threshold has fully been met in impeaching the Deputy President Gachagua. His loyalty to the President is questionable. His visits, whenever the President goes out of the country, the Deputy President is never seen to see him off. Whenever the President comes into the country, the second principle is always not available to receive the President. He gives press releases that contradicts the President, talks too much, giving epithets that make our President, demean our President, projecting our President a liar on several occasions. Yesterday, all Kenyans have heard that it is His Excellency the President Ruto who taught me how to respond to civil servants, how to address intelligence officers like Nurdin Haji, like the CID officer Amin. That in itself depicts lack of respect for the presidency. Mr. Speaker, it is clear in our Constitution that he is the second in command, as espoused in Article 147.3, as read with 134. This he has failed. He has also shown massive erosion of the position of the executive, not being the assistant and showing the unity so expected of him, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President severally pronounced himself on matters discriminating Kenyans, that he has gotten his share of cabinet secretaries in his region. Cabinet secretaries belong to all Kenyans, and I think that doesn't befit. He has addressed public servants in public, and in all aspects, he has violated Article 232, which is the same principles that is expected for the executive. Finally, Mr. Speaker, he also talked ill of public participation. The courts have declared themselves that public participation was well done, and yesterday it was clear that he was contemptuous that the public participation done by the National Assembly did not meet the required threshold, and that, I believe, is also being so contemptuous of this House. With those few remarks, I support the impeachment. Thank you.
Rafael Wanjala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this important motion in this country. Mr. Speaker, this is my second motion since I became Member of Parliament, the second one to discuss impeachment of our Deputy President. Mr. Speaker, I'm very disturbed the way our Deputy President has been behaving, because the Deputy President is principal assistant of the President. But always when the President goes out of the country, the guy recedes back to Murima, and then he starts asking Mr. President so many questions instead of running the country when the President is away. He's never available in Nairobi, except he's only available in his village, trying to ask Mr. President questions, and that, Mr. Speaker, has really annoyed some of us. Mr. Speaker, when there were floods, this Deputy President, Mr. Speaker, was assigned by the President that he's supposed to take care of the disaster that was there at that time. The man never moved from from his home yard to other areas. He was never in Nyando, he was never in Budalangi, he was nowhere, and all the food he directed to his backyard. Mr. Speaker, I want to be very brief.
Yes,
Mr. Speaker, this Deputy President.
Order, Wanjala, there's a point of order. Yes, Muya.
Honorable Speaker, is the member in order to say the Deputy President has never moved out of his backyard, while it is on record and on public domain that he has been in Kisumu, in Busia, in Mombasa, in all parts of the country?
Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President will only be seen in those places when he is accompanying the President. But he has never come on his own to see the destruction of floods. Mr. Speaker, these people of EACC did a service to this country. Because for you to be elected, you must go through EACC. Mr. Speaker, this Deputy President was a DO. And Mr. Speaker, he was a DO, and as a DO, he was sacked on 30th July 1997 as a DO. And the reason why he was sacked, and I will table this later, that the EACC did not do its work and it cleared him to be a member of parliament and to be a deputy president, yet he was not supposed to be because of his misconduct. Mr. Speaker, this letter is read as Mr. Geoffrey regarding Gachagua'S District Officer 1, Laikipia, through Provincial Commissioner, summarily dismissal. Reference is made to our letter dated 19th May 1989 on your appointment to the position of District Officer. I and your response statements to show cause for gross misconduct, desertion of duty, and reported mismanagement of relief food for Laikipia District. These are thieves. In this regard, we wish to notify you that your employment contract has been terminated forthwith. Consequently, you are required to report to the Rift Valley Provincial Commissioner for handover and clearance. This was signed by Queen Rua. Mr. Speaker, this was a wrong man to be in this office in the first place. This one, for Kenya to grow, Gachagua must go. To stop tribalism, Gachagua must go. For Kenya to unite, Gachagua must go. I tabled the letter and I support the motion.
Kagusha.
Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Kagusha.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Raphael Wanjala has produced a photocopy of a document that we cannot get its authenticity. Honorable Speaker, the document that Honorable Raphael Wanjala is referring to is not.
Order, Honorable Kagusha. Order. Take your seat, Honorable Kagusha. Honorable Kagusha, first, from where you are sitting, you have not seen the document. Secondly, the Speaker is fully conversant with the rules of admissibility. And I'll look at the document and I'll direct you on how to use it. I thought I had given you an opportunity to contribute. You are going at a tangent that is totally unnecessary. If you want to contribute, that is what I had given you. If you are not ready to contribute, I give somebody else.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to stand, and I stand guided. Honorable Speaker, I want to stand to oppose the motion to impeach the Deputy President. Honorable Speaker, the reason why the new constitution brought about the issue of having a deputy president position, which is not an appointed position anymore, but a position that the president and the deputy would be conjoined together at the point of election, is so that the two of them can be able to work together. And that is what the country desired. That is what our people of this Republic of Kenya voted for in 2010 in the new constitution. Honorable Speaker, I want to believe that when we have been able to get the two of them, we should be able as a country, as much as practically possible, ensure that whatever misunderstanding and whatever differences that may appear or may exist between the two of them,
Yes, Kagombe.
we get...
Kagusha, hold. Honorable Gigi Kagombe, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, is the honorable member in order to disparage the Constitution and mutilate it in the manner he is doing by disputing the provisions of Article 150 of this Parliament to remove a sitting deputy president? It is constitutional, it is written, it was passed by us in 2010, and that work is given and granted by the Constitution to this Parliament. Therefore, the fact that the president and the deputy president were elected together doesn't stop the provisions of Article 150. So therefore, it should withdraw.
Honorable Speaker, you know there's a reason why Honorable Kagombe is called Kagombe and not Kigombe. It's because a small cow jumps before he jumps, you know, a small calf. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, you know.
Take your seat. Order. Order, honorable members, order. Order. Honorable Kagusha, take your seat. Order, honorable members, order. Honorable Kagusha, you are here the whole morning, and I did direct to the House. Order. Order. Order, Nabuin, take your seat. Honorable members, we have done very well since morning. This may be an emotive motion, but as leaders, leave your emotions at that door when you come to this House. And I want to encourage you, honorable members, Honorable Kagusha, treat your colleagues the same way you would want them to treat you. Don't make any disparaging remarks. Don't purport to misinterpret the meaning of the name of a colleague, because that's not your duty. We just withdraw and apologize to Kagombe and proceed with your contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to withdraw the naming of Honorable Kagombe and apologize, Honorable Speaker.
No.
Honorable Speaker, I also hope that you have noted the Honorable Amombi has hit me with a bottle of water. Honorable Speaker, and that is unparliamentary. Is that unparliamentary that another honorable member should rule?
Order. Honorable Amombi, did you throw a bottle?
Let him continue with the speech, but he should not lie in this House.
Order, honorable members, to the extent that the Speaker didn't see and Honorable Kagusha is not claiming any injury, let's leave it there.
Honorable Speaker, I am of the opinion we have a respectable gentleman by the name Henry Kissinger, and Henry Kissinger did state that the quest for peace and order has two elements that are sometimes treated as contradictory. He said that the pursuit of elements of security and the requirements of acts of reconciliation, if you do not and if you cannot achieve both of them, we will not be able to reach either of them. The road to diplomacy, Honorable Speaker, Henry Kissinger did say that may appear complicated and frustrating, but progress to it requires both vision and the courage to undertake that journey. Honorable Speaker, I'm of the opinion that when we have our two senior most gentlemen in this republic having such kind of a disagreement or an issue that is a misunderstanding, we should seek the way of reconciliation. The way I see us doing now, we are just following on the issue of security. We are looking at the issues of removal, yet we are not pursuing a very important goal in this, and that is reconciliation. And for that matter, Honorable Speaker, I am of the opinion that we should seek a way that we can be able to bring the two gentlemen together. Honorable Speaker, you know that in the past we have brought an elder by the name His Excellency Obasanjo. We have brought Senator Kuhn from US. We have even had a gentleman by the name Museveni, His Excellency Museveni, who have in the past mediated when our two senior-most leaders in this country have disagreed. And for that reason,
Yes,
Honorable Speaker, I want to remind you that we have even had Kofi Annan in Kenya. I'm of the
Honorable
opinion
Shimba.
that we should have gotten away.
Hold Kagusha. Yes, Shimba.
I want to inform Honorable Kaguchia that by any dictionary that is known in this world,
Honorable
Just
Speaker,
a minute,
I
just
did
a
not
minute.
ask for
Relax.
information
Just
from
relax.
Honorable Omar.
just relax.
Order.
Honorable Speaker, I do not desire to have any information
He has
from Honorable
rejected your
Shimba.
information. Take your seat. Finish up.
Thank you,
Your time
Honorable
is up.
Speaker. So Honorable Speaker, I would like to complete my statement.
Yeah, finish up. Give him a minute. Finish up. Time is up. Give him a minute. Wakili?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would just like to complete my statement by saying that I wish that as a country, we are able to come up with a mechanism in which we can be able to bring our senior leaders when they have a disagreement in such a way that they can be able to reconcile and agree. Because, Honorable Speaker, even when we open the Pandora's box of impeachment, Honorable Speaker, we are going to be opening something that we may not be able to contain. We are now likely to have many impeachments coming to this House because we have started something
Yes,
that, Honorable
Junet.
Speaker, sometimes we are not able to contain in coming days. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
He's off the floor, Junet, so you cannot raise.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to clarify that the matter before the House is not a disagreement of anyone. It is a motion that has been tabled by Honorable Mutuse that has 8 counts, 11 grounds. Mr. Speaker, we are discussing a motion that contains 11 grounds. We're not discussing any disagreements of anyone with his wife, with his boss, with his children, with his mother, with his uncle, with his cousin, with his farmer, with his cook. We're not discussing those things, bro.
Mama Zamzam.
Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kuchangia mada ya leo ya kuweza kung'oa mamlakani naibu wa rais. Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, naibu wa rais amekuwa akizunguka Kenya nzima. Na akizungumza, mimi kwanza nilikuwa nauliza Mheshimiwa Spika, naibu wa rais amesahau dawa zake kumeza ama kuna shida Mheshimiwa Spika? Kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, naibu wa rais alikuwa akizunguka kila mahali. Anazungumzia mambo ya ukabila, anazungumza mambo ya shares. Mimi najiuliza, Mombasa County Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi ndio tulikusanya ushuru zaidi tukawa nambari 1 Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini naibu wa rais akizungumza, anazungumza mambo ya shares, mambo ya mlima, mambo ya nini. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiona naibu wa rais anaweza kumkosoa rais mbele ya wananchi Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika,
Honorable Mchomba. Hold Mama Zamzam, hold her time. Yes, Honorable Mchomba. Order, honorable members, order, Honorable Mchomba.
Bwana Spika, nasimama kuuliza kama
Order, hold on. Which standing order has been breached? Cite the standing
point of
order.
information, clarification.
Asante sana
Which standing
Mheshimiwa
order has
Spika.
been breached?
Mheshimiwa Spika.
Clarification, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Spika, aweze
do you want
kunijuza.
information?
I refuse.
Sitaki nijuze.
I refuse to be muted when I have something that I need the honorable member to clarify.
Honorable,
The honorable
order,
member must
Honorable
clarify.
Mchomba. Honorable Mchomba. Order, Honorable Mchomba. Hold your horses. Honorable Mchomba. If you want to, you know the rules. Order. Honorable Mchomba, you know the rules. If you want to inform a member on the floor, the member must accept your information. She has said she doesn't want. Under what standing order?
Mr. Speaker,
Which
the honorable
standing
member
order?
has talked about that Mr. Deputy President alisahau kunywa dawa. Tungetaka kujua ni dawa gani ambazo mheshimiwa anaongea juu yake. Na kama hizo dawa, na kama
Mama Zamzam, endelea.
Mheshimiwa Spika, wajua ndio makosa ya kupatia mabubu kuzungumza. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nimesema huenda ikawa, sijasema amesahau, nimesema huenda ikawa, nilifikiria, nilikisia. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, kiongozi kama yule ambaye siku zote anajua makabila yote Kenya tunakaa kwa amani, tumeoana, tunaelewana, Mheshimiwa Spika, anataka kuturegesha kwa makabila kama vile tulivyokuwa na mambo ya Kaya Bombo, kama tulivyokuwa na zile baada ya kura za 2007 2008. Mheshimiwa Spika, watu walipoteza maisha yao kwa sababu ya ukabila. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nakaa nikishangaa. Deputy President alikuja Mombasa, amesimama juu ya gari anatafuna ndizi na mahindi choma. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza alitupa takataka pale, alikuwa juu kama kuna watoto wetu ndio ufagia. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, pale juu ya gari Deputy President anazungumza akisema kuwa yule gavana atoe pesa za floods, wakati anajua 14 billion kutoka World Bank ambayo ni ya disaster management. Mheshimiwa Spika, zilikuwa kwa ofisi yake na aliziramba. Mheshimiwa Spika, alikuwa anajua 6 billion tuliweka hapa katika bajeti. Mheshimiwa Spika, hakuzileta Mombasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, yule ni kiongozi wa kugonganisha watu. Mheshimiwa Spika, na ndio maana najiuliza, kwa miaka miwili kampuni 22. Mheshimiwa Spika, hata mimi moja sina. Miaka miwili kampuni 22 na zote zina 5.7 billion ya mtoto, ya mke, ya nani, kisha bado unaenda kuchukua mali ya ndugu yako, unaacha mayatima, unaacha mjane, unamtesa, kisha utatuambia nini katika taifa la Kenya? Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi leo nasema ngatuliwe, nasema kwa kutesa mjane, Gachagua must go. Kwa kukula pesa za mahindi, Gachagua must go. Kwa kutesa ukabila na Kenya, Gachagua must go. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Ngogoyo.
Mr. Speaker, I have gone through the motion and the issues that Wakili Mwengi Mutuse has raised. And Mr. Speaker, I pick on a number of issues that I would want to draw the attention of this House to. Number one, Mwengi Mutuse says that all we need to do is to just believe the things he has tabled here are true. We cannot believe what he says is true. We have to cross-examine. We have to look at them properly. Mr. Speaker, I have gone through the evidence that he has provided on some of the issues. And Mr. Speaker, having 21 companies, according to Mwengi Mutuse, is an intention for the Deputy President. He did not say money has been laundered, but it is an intention. And he says it is enough for this House to just believe. And therefore, Mwengi Mutuse, former Chief of Staff in Machakos County, Mr. Speaker, he has said in his submission that they were officers who were coerced to write, to change in the Ministry of Lands without tabling any evidence from the document that he has provided. Mr. Speaker, this House cannot go with hearsay. It is not possible for you to make a decision out of hearsay. Mr. Speaker, in his accusations, he says that the Deputy President is a Mount Kenya person, makes issues based on Mount Kenya. I am the Member of Parliament for Kajiado North. He has visited my constituency for a development tour. The executive, through the State Department for Education, Mr. Speaker, constructed classes, courtesy of his visit in Enoma Tasiani Girls Secondary School, a school that rescues girls, specifically from asylum. Mr. Speaker, the only girls' school that we have in my constituency, the Great Kajiado North. Mr. Speaker, Mwengi Mutuse did not mention such issues, but he says, according to him, the Deputy President coerced, did 1, 2, 3, and Mr. Speaker, he wants to say that we just need to believe. Mr. Speaker, impeaching the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya needs more evidence than what he has provided. I find this to be very shallow. And Mr. Speaker, maybe in the words of the Chief Justice, this is hot air, in my opinion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have found very respectful submission from lawyers in this House,
Yes, Mama Zamzam.
a majority of
What's
them.
your point of
Mheshimiwa,
order and
point
what's
of order
standing
number
order?
87, Mheshimiwa Spika. Mimi nataka nimjuze mbunge mwenzangu kuwa huyu alikuwa...
Naomba nisijuzwe.
Hapana, nimesema...
Naomba nisijuzwe.
She is on a point of order.
Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka atoe statement of fact, Mheshimiwa Spika. Ameweza kupickpocket maabiria wote, hawana chochote Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo aende tu nyumbani Mheshimiwa Spika.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I choose to stick to content.
Your time
I
is
choose
up.
to stick to matter.
Go on.
I choose to ignore the honorable member. Mr. Speaker, I therefore want to submit to this House that Mr. Speaker will not engage on that matter. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to submit that Ngogoyo Onesmus Nguro, Member of Parliament for Kajiado North, says no to the impeachment of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Member for Taveta. Member for Taveta. The mic is there.
Can I have this one?
Is
This
it
one
working?
is short.
There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For a start, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion by my learned colleague, Honorable Mutuse. Most of the things, Mr. Speaker, have been said, but allow me to say a few things. Number one, allow me to borrow on the then Council of White House during the Clinton administration. He said, impeachment is not a remedy for private wrongs. It's a method for removing someone whose continued presence in office would cause danger to the nation. Mr. Speaker, my position is the continued stay in office of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is a threat to the nation of Kenya. I continue by saying this, Mr. Speaker. Between 1963, when we got independence, we had a vice president in the name of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. He never said, do not touch Luo Nyanza. During the President Moi's regime, we had George Saitoti. We had Musalia Mudavadi. He never said, do not touch Luya Nation. During the time of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, he never said, do not touch Ukambani. But we have a Deputy President, Mr. Speaker, who is obsessed with a certain region in this